Hi and welcome to this tutorial. Today we're going to focus on salary negotiation because this is probably one of the most nerve-wracking parts of an interview. As for most candidates, they're scared to ask, there's a fear of appearing to be too weak or even too aggressive, and this leaves most people in a kind of a no man's land and accepting what is given and walking away from the interview where you feel you've been shortchanged. So in this video, you're going to learn the 4 key points that stand for RICK. So that's R-I-C-K, that will help you achieve your maximum outcome in your salary negotiations. So let's begin. And point number 1 is recruitment agent. If ever you're going to go for a job interview, in the modern world, there are recruitment agents involved. And in most cases, the salary negotiation is taken away from you, and there's always somebody doing that on your behalf. So if there is a recruitment agent involved, always build a relationship with them. Now, they will know the salary, they will be able to negotiate, and ultimately, the higher the salary you achieve, the greater the fee they are paid. So I say they're working on your behalf to do this, and this kind of takes away the awkwardness at the end of an interview where you may get asked about salary negotiation. So the first kind of point really, which sounds kind of counterintuitive, but if there's a recruitment agent involved, they will manage that salary negotiation for you. And as I say, we're going to kind of move forward into a couple of other points just in case there isn't a recruitment agent involved, so you can maximize your own value. So point number 1, if there's a recruitment agent involved, use them, build a relationship with them, and go after the maximum value that you can. So now we move on to point number 2, which is investigate. That's what the I stands for. So you have to investigate. And what this means is if there isn't a recruiter involved and you're dealing directly with an employer, then you need to know the value of the job before you go into the interview. Again, this is one mistake people don't know, is they go in, they sit down, they have a negotiation, and they don't understand the value of what the job pays. So there's a couple of points here. Number 1, you find that information out by researching online, by looking at similar jobs from different organizations, by looking at historical data, by looking at careers websites. You know, it's probably a 30 to 40 minute kind of research task, and you'll find roughly what the industry is paying for that particular job. Now, for example, if you know that there's a job paying for £32,000, if you know that the industry is paying for that, then when you go into a salary negotiation, you've got a kind of a starting point to work from. So it's always really important to, as I say, investigate first to see what the value of the job actually is. And that's going to lead on to our next point. And that point is commit. So number 3 is you have to commit to a figure. So once you've investigated, once you've done your research, once you understand what the market is paying, then you have to commit to a figure. So if you commit to 32,000, that's brilliant, because the biggest mistake people make is they are asked the question generally in an interview in the sense that what's your salary range? So if that salary range could be 27 to 32 and you just give a figure of, or give that range, for example, then naturally an employer is going to come down to a lower figure, i.e. 27,000. And in your mind, you're thinking, well, I prefer 30,000. And I say most people don't do any investigation, and most people don't understand the value of why they're worth that particular figure. So it's always better that if you go in with a figure, say, for example, 32,000, and if the employer then comes back and says, well, we can only pay up to 30,000 or 31, you are in a much better position than giving the employer a range, i.e. 27 to 32. And remember, the reason why this is important, because you probably got bills to pay, you want to go on holiday, you might want to get up to the next level on the property ladder. So salary negotiation is really, really important, and you have to show confidence by committing to the figure that you want. So always remember that. Do your research. Make sure, obviously, you speak to a recruitment agent if there's one involved. If there isn't, investigate. And now we're on point 3, which is commit to a figure. So now we move to the final point, which is know why. So the first point of RICK is recruitment agent. Second point is I for investigate. Third point is commit to a figure. And the final point is know why. Now, if you commit to a figure of 32,000, you must give evidence. There's nothing wrong with committing to a figure And employers will actually respect you for that, but they won't if you don't have any evidence to back it up. So if you just say randomly in the interview, salary expectations are 32,000, there's a couple of things that are going to happen. They're generally going to say either yes, that's fine. 2, can you explain why you think you're worth that? Or 3, we don't necessarily have the budget in mind for that particular salary at the moment, but we can move to say 30 or 31. And they may negotiate around other kind of benefits, if you like. That might be a company car, it might be a mobile phone, it might be extra days holiday. So there's always room for negotiation. As I say, in this particular video, we're just going to concentrate on the actual figure. So stating a figure is fine, but you must know why. So this is where you're looking at examples. So for example, if you've got experience and you're applying for an IT position and they do turn around and say, well, can you explain why you're worth this particular figure? Then use examples, provide evidence, give detailed examples. If you have references or you have customer testimonials or you have evidence on LinkedIn, this is where you can talk around that. So this is really, really important. As I say, you have to back up your claim. If you're in a court of law and you're arguing a case, you have to provide evidence, and it's exactly the same at interview. So just to summarize, remember to use Rick because you will feel a lot more confident. Remember to use the recruitment agent, if there's one involved, to maximize the figure that you get. If there isn't, that is when you begin to investigate. You have to do your research to find out what people are getting paid. The C stands for commit, so you must commit to what it is that you think you're worth. And the K is know why. Know why you're worth it. And what this means is you have to provide evidence, examples of why you're worth that particular figure. As I say, you'll feel a lot more confident, you'll feel calmer. There's no confusion in terms of salary ranges because you know exactly what it is that you want. And if you do that research, like I said previously, you're then going to go into the interview knowing your figure, but more importantly is you know your value. And that's probably one of the most important things in this, is know what you're worth. Be able to explain it because, as I say, this is your future. It is a big part of the interview because it enables you to have that extra freedom. So if it's an extra £200 a month, $200, whatever currency that you're kind of living in, if you like, is that can make a massive difference in your life. And this is where a lot of people go wrong, is they don't necessarily put the right time or the right kind of resources into this. So use Rick to make you feel a lot more confident and to, as I say, know your outcome and achieve exactly what it is that you're worth. So thank you for listening to this tutorial and best of luck with your interview.